What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sandbox Media. It's Ryan and Mike here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today, we wanted to do a video talking about PUBG and sort of the quote unquote downfall of it, even though I don't really agree that it's unpopular at this point, but it's definitely true that
It's
Fortnite is.
yeah, it's still a very successful game. And when we say downfall, we don't mean that it's like failing and that it's not successful anymore. Basically, what we're trying to say is that it could have been a lot bigger than what it ended up being.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Fortnite is definitely the front runner rather, instead of PUBG, and we just want to talk about that. So, what do you think is the main reason that PUBG is less popular than Fortnite?
Well, the biggest thing that I think where PUBG kind of messed up was that game was in early access. I think close to a year, maybe a little over. I'm not really sure. On PC, it was $30 on Steam. You could get into the early access, and basically they continued to add stuff to the game while you played it, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a bad business model. You get paid while you that way you can put the money that you're getting back into the game. But Fortnite's actually doing the exact same thing with microtransactions. I mean, they are adding a new mode to it basically every week. They're constantly updating the game, adding new weapons and all that. So my big point here is PUBG probably would have been a hell of a lot more successful and could have maybe even uh, made it a lot harder for Fortnite to get big if they would have just come out on all platforms right off the bat and not signed a deal with Microsoft. I think signing that deal with Microsoft really hurt them.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. You hit it on the head. Another thing that I think is like contributing factor to this is that PUBG is not very smooth when you play it. Now on PC, it seems to be fine. I haven't played it myself on PC. I mainly play on Xbox just because that's where my friends are.
Right.
But um, it's what they call. I've listened to somebody make a video talking about this, and I don't really know too much about it in terms of coding. But they basically said they call it spaghetti code, and basically what that means is that the code isn't really optimized very well. So that's why the game's sort of laggy on Xbox. And it's funny because when you play the mobile version of it, it plays super well. It's actually more
Oh
fluid
yeah.
than it is on Xbox. I don't know how much you played of it, but from my experience, the one on mobile is like smooth as hell, and I think that's because they hired like a third party to sort of go through there and optimize it, and it worked well. And I don't understand why they haven't done that on Xbox, honestly. I
Right.
mean, I would think, especially with if they want that title to be something that like sticks for a long time and has a long life cycle, then I think they should consider doing that, honestly, because I know a lot of my friends that play on Xbox, they're not really too happy with the way it runs, even though it's still a fun game and they play it. It's just
Right.
like it's just not optimized very well. So, and that's actually something that I think H1Z1 was actually one of the first really popular battle royale games, and it was on PC, and it sort of suffered from the same problem from what I understand, and that community pretty much dwindled down to nothing from what I understand.
Yeah, that game actually went free to play here recently, and it's supposed to launch
Hmm.
on PlayStation next month.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as the mobile version of PUBG goes, I actually think Tencent developed that. I don't know how much Bluehole had to do with that game, so
Yeah.
um, that could be why it's more optimized for the mobile, uh, for mobile, I guess. And as far as the Xbox version goes, what you said is why I have not bought it on my Xbox. I heard that it's real laggy. It's just not very good. But as far as PC goes, man, I play it on there, not real often, but often enough to know that it runs really, really well on PC. Um, so as far as PUBG and Fortnite go, if PUBG had launched on all platforms right off the bat, free to play, you know, where do you think it would be versus Fortnite right now?
Well, I think with PUBG, it's a different style of game than Fortnite. Fortnite's more cartoony, and you do have to be skilled to be good at it, but PUBG it requires a different kind of skill. And with PUBG, I feel like it's more strategic in the sense like you have to aim for the head more often. It matters what kind of attachments you have, and it's not as cartoonish, obviously.
Right.
So, and also you have to have a better PC to run it. I know a lot of streamers, for example, had to upgrade just so they could play the damn game and stream it. And I feel like in terms of like life cycle of the game, this is kind of getting off topic a little bit, but it's still kind of relevant. I feel like that there's going to be a lot more big money tournaments for PUBG just because you're going to have more of a powerful PC and more powerful components to run the game. So I can see like uh, companies that make parts for PCs sponsoring tournaments because it's a good game to do that on. Whereas Fortnite, you can play on PlayStation and it just be just as fluid as it is on PC. You don't really, I mean, I can't speak to how powerful of a PC you need to run it at the bare minimum and it still look decent, but I know that PUBG is more demanding. Therefore, I think there's going to be more money thrown at it from companies in terms of like tournaments and stuff like that. But Fortnite, it's more. I think Fortnite honestly is a little bit more fun. That's a personal opinion, but it's easier to pick up. There's really not a whole lot of strategy in terms of like what weapon attachments and like that kind of stuff goes. It's more of just focused on like gameplay and building. That's actually a huge part of that game too.
Yeah.
So I think if it's okay that PUBG charges $30 for the game right now on Xbox because I understand that you have to get paid for the product you're making, but the thing is you need to make sure that game is optimized, and the reason why is because of what we're seeing right now, where Fortnite's kind of taken over in terms of battle royale games that are popular. Whereas before Fortnite came out, PUBG was it. I mean, it was the
Right.
bee's knees. What
Yeah.
everybody played. So I think the fact that Fortnite is free and the fact that it's optimized super well, and no matter where you play it, that's why it's number one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with the reason with Fortnite being number one is because it's free and all that. As far as the competitive, I think you were kind of talking about PUBG being the go-to for competitive. Um, I kind of differ in opinion from you on that, and I'm not saying that. Obviously, PUBG is already, I think esports. It's already in esports a little bit.
Hmm.
I think there. I could be mistaken on this, but I feel like there's like 20 teams for Fortnite, and there's not even esports event for it yet. But people are already getting teams set up for it when it does come out. I think Fortnite, man, as far as skill, dude, I watched some incredible people like Ninja, for example. Man, that game, if it takes a hell of a lot of skill to be able to build the way that some of these people build. I have to sit there and think too much about what I'm doing in order to be able to build just a small little uh, wall around me to protect myself, let alone people that are building forts real quick. And dude, there are even people that they'll run up on you and they'll like build up walls behind you to trap you to where you can't move around and you're stuck and they just kill you. Um, I think in
Yeah,
terms of gameplay like that, it takes a lot more skill in Fortnite versus PUBG. But I think I think it's more realistic, obviously, and it takes more
hmm
skill as far as like a long range shooter type game.
yeah. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier. I mean, I don't disagree that it does take skill with Fortnite, but the difference is it's a different skill. With Fortnite, it's more of building skill, whereas with PUBG, it's more of gunplay skill, and
Right,
like you have to think about what kind of vests and that kind of stuff you need. There's more things that you need to acquire in order to be successful and win a game in PUBG,
right.
and so those they're definitely different styles of battle royale games. So I just think like I said earlier, I'm sticking to my guns. I think that there's going to be more money thrown at it from companies for PUBG, but I still think that there's going to be tons of tournaments for Fortnite just because the game's so popular.
Yeah. See, I don't know, man. It's hard to think. I think long term, and I could be completely wrong on this, but I think long term Fortnite will be around. I don't know, 5 years from now. I think PUBG will die out before then. I really,
Yeah, I think it hinges on Bluehole's ability to like fix their game and make it more fluid.
right.
Honestly, it's in their hands. I mean, they have the player base right now. PUBG is still ranked up there in like the top two or three games that people watch streaming.
Yeah,
So they still have an audience. It's just a matter of will they spend the money and the energy and the resources to make the game more optimized.
right. You know, Bluehole is kind of in a weird predicament here. You think about it, it's almost when you're in their situation, it's like why wouldn't we partner with Microsoft to bring the game to their console, and then maybe a year later we'll bring it to PS4, or Microsoft will buy the console rights and it'll just be on Xbox. I understand where they came from with that point of view, but then again, you look at Fortnite, which just their battle royale launched on all platforms at once, and it was free to play. And they're making $1 million a day on that game, and they're saying that when it comes out on Android devices, they'll be making over $3 million a day.
Yeah, just on the
PUBG's
mobile.
yeah no across all platforms. They'll
Oh, I
make
thought they
it.
were making more money than that.
Well, they're
I mean,
making. I think they're making 1 million. Since they
I
launched on
think
iOS, they were making 1 million a
yeah,
day on iOS alone. But
yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah, but what they're saying is once it launches on Android across all platforms, it'll be over 3 million a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, PUBG's not making that kind of money off of it. I think it said Fortnite made like $126 million in February alone.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me.
That's crazy amount of money. PUBG's a success. There's no denying it, and it's a great game. I just think that if they'd have gone, you know, launched on all platforms at once, free to play, it would have been a hell of a lot more successful than it is now, and possibly, if they'd have done that, it could have hurt Fortnite. Fortnite might have taken till I don't know 6, 7 more months longer to build any kind of steam because everybody's on PUBG.
Mm-hmm.
It would have
Yeah,
taken a little bit longer before anybody had even thought about giving Fortnite a try. But then again,
yeah,
who
man.
knows? Maybe it'd probably been successful either way. But I think PUBG just kind of made a couple not bad decisions, but when you look back on it today, there was a couple decisions they could have made that would have probably been a little bit more beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, man. So I don't have anything else to add. Do you?
No, that's it.
All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear some opinions on this, just because both games are super popular, and the battle royale genre I feel like is really about to explode. I feel like it's just begun. It's sort of the new wave of gaming. I think, honestly, especially with the rumors of Call of Duty adding a battle royale mode, and then
Definitely.
H1Z1 coming to PlayStation, and you have games like Radical Heights coming out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the battle royale genre in the next few years. So take care of yourself, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Peace.